There are different variations of a rolled collar, also called a folded collar, and today I'll be showing you some of them, but we'll focus on cutting and sewing two classic styles. Now, if you've ever wanted to learn how to make a neat and stylish rolled collar for your tops or dresses, then this tutorial is for you. Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to Easy Sewing with Taic, your go-to space for stylish, simple, and beginner-friendly sewing tutorials. And to my amazing returning subscribers, thank you for always being here. Your support means the world to me. And if you're new here, I am Taiwo, and I'm so glad that you stopped by. And I promise that you would love it here. So grab your fabric, your sewing tools, and let's get started on this DIY rolled collar sewing tutorial. For any rolled collar design, the neckline that the rolled collar will be sitting on plays a huge role. Okay, so you need to determine the neckline that you're working with. For this particular one that we're making now, the front neckline is a basic round shaped neckline, while the back neckline is V-shaped. If you're making this type of variation, then both the front and the back neckline will have to be a basic or a round neckline. And if you're working with this variation, then you'll be looking at a cano neckline or a battue neckline. All right, moving on, for this particular project, the neck width is 3.5. You can also make it 4 inches depending on how wide you want it to be, and the neck depth is 3.2 inches. So I connected that to form a round shape, then I went ahead to cut it out, as you can see on the screen. Now for the back neckline, remember that I'm working with a V-shaped neckline. The depth is 6.5, while the width is 3.5. Same with the front. Now that I've marked out those 2 points, I'll go ahead and connect it together with the ruler to form a V-shaped neckline. Note that while drafting out these bodies, I've already added my shoulder joining allowance. So starting after that allowance, because I will have joined the front and the back at the shoulder before attaching the rolled collar, I went ahead to take in the front neckline measurement and the back neckline measurement, with the front neckline measurement being 6.5 inches on fold, while the back neckline measurement is 7.5 inches on fold. In total, that is 14 inches on fold and 28 inches when opened. Now with that neckline circumference, you can go ahead and cut out the rolled collar. Here is how I folded the fabric. So I folded it on bias like this in a triangle form. Then I went ahead to fold it into 4 again. I hope you get that, and if not, you can go ahead and replay this part until you are sure that you've gotten how to fold the fabric. Moving on, remember that the neckline circumference we are working with is 14 inches. So I went ahead to mark out 15 inches of fold this way. I added 1 inch joining allowance. After which I went ahead to mark out the height. So on the drafting table, I actually marked out 5 inch. You can see that I made a mistake and marked out 5.5 here. So when I eventually started sewing, I had to reduce the height to 4.5, and you will get to see that when we get to the sewing machine. So the final result you can see at the beginning of this video is actually 4.5 inches. Okay, moving on, the next thing you want to do at this stage is to extend the line this way. You just want to have like a triangle shape here. This is to get that triangle shape that we have going on at the back neckline. You need to extend it out this way, okay? And that's it. We can go ahead and cut it out now. Take note that your neckline circumference should be measured on this part that I'm cutting through right now, the part where I'm indicating on the screen right now, not on the folded part. Do not make that mistake, because it is this cut through part that will be attached to the neckline, not the folded part. Okay, so go ahead and notch the center for easy fixing. Moving on to the sewing process, the first thing you want to do is to sew off the edges with the allowance that you added. And remember that in my case, I added 1 inch allowance. You can also use 1/2 inch allowance. So I went ahead to sew it off at the 2 sides. After which I went ahead to trim it off, especially at that pointed part. You want to make sure that you trim it off properly so that when you are turning it out, it will be easy. After trimming it off, I went ahead to turn it inside out. Then I went ahead to sew on it this way. Note that when you are making your actual dress, make sure that you interface this whole collar, please. It's because this is just for tutorial purpose, that is why I did not interface it. Now before we finish up, tell me, what project would you add this collar to? What project are you looking forward to add this collar to? Is it to a nice dress or to a blouse? Comment below, I'm curious. And also, if you're enjoying this so far, give this video a thumbs up, please. It really helps more people to find our community. And don't forget to subscribe if you're new here, so you don't miss any of our fun sewing tutorials. And at this point, I've gone ahead to reduce the height of the collar. So what I finally worked with was 4.5 inches, like I mentioned earlier. The half inches for the sewing allowance, after which I went ahead to double check and confirm that what I have there is the neckline circumference. Now before joining the collar to the dress, you must have joined the front and the back bodies at the shoulder. You must have joined it together at the sides. You must have something like this. Then placing the mid center of the collar, match it up with the center of the neckline, and make sure that you are placing it on the wrong side of the dress, because it is going to have to roll over to the right side of the dress. So in essence, you are placing the collar on the wrong side of the dress. Now if this was to be an outfit that would have a lining, at this point you will add your lining on top this way, so that the collar would be sandwiched in between the lining and the main fabric. And you can also do it this way, that you've already added the lining to the neckline, but you won't turn the neckline with the lining. Then you will not attach your collar this way, but in that case you will have to weave or overlock in order to have a neat finish. Moving on, the next thing to do is to top stitch this way. I also went ahead to give it a good press, and you can see how it looks. So this is what we have so far, and you'd agree with me that it came out so beautiful. This is so nice. And about now, it's time to move over to the next collar. So for this one, you can see that the collar ended around 1 inch or 1.5 inch after the shoulder joining. So I went ahead to take my measurement from the center of the front neckline that way, and I will be working with 8.5 inches on fold. So I went ahead to cut out the previous collar. I loosed it out and cut it out. Then after folding it, I have 8.5 inches that way. So you can see that it's the same collar. I just had to cut that out, and we use it for this particular type of fold collar. And I also reduced the height to 3.5 inches, because this one is not as big as the other one. Also, here is another thing. You can see that the edges of my own collar is actually straight, and you can see how it looked like when I was done sewing. But the one in the style inspiration was a bit curvy. I was done with the project before I actually take note of that. So you want to make sure that you have yours a bit curvy if that is what you are going for. So just like we did for the front, I just went ahead to join the collar to the neckline this way. Afterwards, you want to make sure that you notch it in case you want to fold that part or turn it with your bias, or even turn it with your lining. And this is what I have. I would also go ahead and top stitch. Just follow through with the same process like we did for the front. Alright, it's actually the same, and this is what I have. And that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed sewing along with me. If you did, please give this video a like, share it with your friends, and subscribe for more beginner friendly sewing tutorials. Remember, sewing is a journey. Take it one stitch at a time, and you'll be amazed at what you can create. See you in the next tutorial. Bye.